Let's talk about it. Remember Sergey Lazarev from Russia, 2016? You're the only one, thunder and lightning. It's getting exciting. It's still my favorite line in Eurovision, I think. I use it all the time. He won the televote in 2016, was the fan favorite. Then the juries came, were like, and win this a little bit too much. We're going to put you a little further down. So he finished third overall. And apparently he is being under consideration, the front runner, to represent Russia in 2019 in Tel Aviv as well. That's according to Komsomolskaya Pravda. Sorry. It's a Russian newspaper. They announced that the announcement will be made officially on February the 1st. The Russian representative, that is. So just over 2 weeks from today. Now, keep in mind, also, it's rumored to be he's only under consideration right now. He may be the front runner, but nothing has been set in stone. They have not yet completely decided on who is going. There are other people still in the running as of right now. But he is the one to beat from what we're hearing. And there's apparently the Dream Team. That was September. They made this weird announcement that they're working on a new project, right? And the Dream Team is like, who's part of it? It's like Philip Kirkorov. Zach, you remember him, I'm sure, as well. The guy who, first of all, he represented Russia in '95, and then he was all in charge of the staging for 2016 for Sergey. And last year's the telenovela with the Doors, My Lucky Day in Moldova. He was involved that as well as the song Greek songwriter. Oh gosh, I'm so bad with the Greek's name. Dimitris Kontopoulos, and the choreographer Fokas Evangelinos. So they're working on a project. So we're all assuming it's going to be Eurovision, right? Because that's what they've done before. And one last thing, if it's Sergey, it's reported that he's going to perform a power ballad, something grand and epic, and it has already been recorded with a full symphony orchestra. So these are the news that we have right now. Once again, this is all just according to Russian media. Nothing has been confirmed or denied by the broadcaster. So we're just here to talk about it. So Zach, assuming it is Sergey, you didn't get to watch him or like rehearse in Stockholm, but would this be a great choice for Russia?
Yeah, I think so. I think he proved himself to be a very capable performer. I kind of go back to the songs from 2016, and I was someone who just did not want Russia to win. I kind of, I remember in 2015, a lot of the press said, Mons Zemerlo, Heroes, the performance was lacking soul. And, I found that the same issues were existing with Sergei's performance in 2016. But, a couple years out of it and out of the Eurovision bubble, I think it was one of the stronger performances, and you can see it. It still gets huge viewership numbers on the official website. I think people may have seen me rolling my eyes, and I wasn't rolling my eyes at Sergey. I think I was rolling my eyes at how everyone keeps talking about this dream team. And, you can only call yourself you can't really call yourself a dream team. You have to let other people call it. And I just, when I think of people talking about big names in Eurovision, they always talk about Sasha Jean-Baptiste, the stage director, and everyone acts like, she can walk on water. But, I usually just find her things to be dark and moody and just kind of the same thing over and over again. And you can't really equate a certain team with automatically generating success, because there's going to be failure at some point. And I am curious, excited to see what Sergey could do as a power ballad. But, when looking at his collection of music that he's previously released, I think I prefer his more upbeat stuff more than his balladry.
I do too. I'm the same way. So I was like, I'd rather have him. I mean, I don't want him to do a second You're the Only One. But, something more upbeat, I would have probably been my preference. But I'm withholding final judgment because who knows? Maybe it's going to be awesome. But we have to wait and see. Now, do you think that, just from a artist perspective, for Sergey, it is a good call to go back? Because he finished in third place. Regardless of how popular you are, it's tough to beat or match or beat a third place at Eurovision. You think people will always compare him to his first effort, or you think people will be judging it on its own merit? Do you think it's a good idea for someone to come back? Especially when you've done so well. That, I guess, is my question.
I mean, some people come back, they do really well. Johnny Logan, Carola.
That's true.
Some people come back.
But we're talking about
well.
decades ago when we only had one show, you know. So it's
and we talked about that the last time I was here. Is that everyone always thinks they can bring back an artist and they're automatically going to do well, and that isn't always the case. You know, I think the common fan's not going to remember. They may look at him in 2019 and say, "Oh yeah, I think this guy was on here a couple of years ago." Mm-hmm. You know, but other than that, the casual viewer's going to just base it on what they see, the performance, everything else. And that's why I think Sergey did so well with the televote in 2016. His performance did stand out. And, you know, everyone was shocked when Iceland didn't qualify. But let's be real, they were right after Russia. And as good as Hear Them Calling was performance-wise, it just, when you compare it to what Sergey did on stage, it really paled in comparison. Yeah. And that's really where ordering, I think, had a role. Someone was asking, you know, if not Sergey, then who would represent Russia? And I'm not sure. I have my dream artist that I would like to see represent Russia, but
you do
I don't
or you don't, you said.
Huh?
You said you do have one? Or
I do have one, but they would never choose her. It's the woman who sang backup for Dima in 2006, for the dude from Belarus in 2007, for Annie Lorek in Ukraine for 2008, and Armenia in 2010. She's the big woman. She's a bigger build woman. I'm trying to think of a way to put it. But she always was a dependable backup singer. I think she worked with one of the songwriters for all those different songs. And she was on The Voice of Russia, and she made it to the Final Four one year. But Andy from ESC Kaz knew her name, and he said she was a pretty well-respected singer in Russia on the amateur circuit. But I would love to see, you know, I always have a fondness of backup singers becoming the lead person, and it seemed like she just has this long-standing history of being a backup singer at Eurovision, and I just feel like backup singers deserve their due to be pushed to the front of the stage at some point.
And I think Eurovision would be a great alternative or like option for that. Absolutely. Now Flavius is saying Russia is the biggest country in the world. Well, not population-wise, but area-wise. That's true. But no, you know, and there are loads of artists out there. So why pick Sergei Lazarev rather than a new, fresh artist that has lots of potential? It's a valid point. Keep in mind, it is a little bit more than just let's give someone, you know, a chance here to shine. There's a lot going on. You want people to watch the show. You want to create a hype. You want to have someone that can really, really bring excitement to the contest, and someone like Sergei Lazarev would do that. So granted, I'm biased because I loved Sergei's song. I loved Sergei. I interviewed him and he was so funny. You would think he would be this arrogant dude, but he was very down to earth and sweet. And so I'm definitely a big fan of his. So I would love for him to come back. Now, as I point out, I'm always thinking, what is like? It's going to be tough to beat your record, I should say, third place. But I'm saying maybe for us in the Eurovision world that is so, you know, like on our main radar, but maybe it's not even that important to them. I'm sure they want to win, but it's not the only reason why they come in there, because you get great national exposure. Most artists, their most successful singles were their Eurovision songs, whether they were doing great or just a little less great, you know what I mean? So it is just a renewed push for a lot of artists, even like Alexander Rybak. Go ahead.
Well, and remember, for the broadcasters, part of the show is not so much the selection of the artists are winning. For many of them, it's just getting viewers. So if Sergei is able to bring a good viewership to Russia, then mission accomplished.
Yes, and it creates a big hype in the Eurovision community for
definitely.
sure.
And, you know, I'm being critical of Sergei, but I love him as an artist. I mean, I went, you know, I think you know this, I was thinking about getting another dog, a play buddy for my dog Booker, and I found a dog and I was ready to adopt him, and I told my other half, I was like, we're going to get a dog and we're going to name him Sergei after him. And well, the dog was kind of out of control, and I realized this is a lot of work to have another out of control dog. Booker's bad enough, and didn't do it. So I always say, you know, the dog that could have been mine that I would have named Sergei.
Yeah, that would have been funny. But no, I'm hoping that people will at least be open to them. I understand, as we want to see new artists, new styles, I understand why a broadcaster would pick someone with a bigger name. It's always difficult to look at from like the Eurovision perspective and just from a objective, you know, outside the bubble objective. And I think they're two different things that sometimes clash, and I think that is what's happening. And personally, for selfish reasons, that is, I would love for him to come back. But I'm worried that, you know, having to beat you on record is difficult, but I don't think that's necessarily the only ultimate goal here. Alexander Rybak, he kind of probably knew he wasn't going to win again, but it's still a nice little exposure for his song, even though I didn't like it at all. So it's more than that. I get it. I've always been stuck like, well, how can you beat it? But
well, let's be honest. The Norwegian broadcaster, they were just hyping him up for the win. Yes. Every time they mentioned him, the legendary, the one and only, and it was just like, I felt bad for all the other competitors.
Yeah, I would have been so pissed. I'm like, really? Why don't just say like him internally? Come on.
Yep, exactly.
They had better songs in the running there for sure.
Yep.
Anyway, so we have to wait and see. Again, this is just, nothing is confirmed. The announcement, if we can believe the Russian media, is February the 1st. So we have to wait and see. One more question here from M. Frem. Do you reckon Russia are trying to redeem themselves by sending Sergei to get in the finals again after last year? No guarantees, of course, but a better shot. What do you think, Zach? Do you think it's really just like, let's just get into the finals again and then see where it takes us? Do you think that's their ultimate mission here?
I mean, I actually thought, even with what happened last year, I thought it was just a sure shot they were still going to get into the final. And what did they finish in the semifinals?
14th, I think.
14th?
Yeah. They were 11th with the televoters, I remember that. And then they were like second to last with something like that with the juries. Something like that, so it definitely dropped them. They wouldn't even qualify only with the televoters. That was interesting. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not sure what their plan is. Maybe there is some redemption they want to do. Maybe there's some PR control they need to do. But I think when it comes down to it, they probably want to get some hype back, get some viewership. I don't know what their viewership numbers were this past year in Russia, and I don't know if they can say that's due to the year off or if it was just due to the song and the results. But we'll see. I hate to keep saying that answer. We'll see. But really, you know, as predictable as Eurovision can be, the unexpected does happen.
Yeah. We only have 1 minute to talk about this, but let's go through real quick. As you talked about in 2015, Polina, I understand she technically wasn't booed. For her personally, it was more the idea of Russia potentially winning the contest. There was a lot of booing, but she cried nevertheless. Like, she felt horrible, and I felt horrible.
Well, and someone we were sitting with was screaming, "She's being such a good actress now." That they were saying that she was doing it for the sympathy vote, tears, but I actually think that was pretty genuine.
No, it's like, no.
I think you saw it after her final performance and her semi-final performance. She really got caught up in it, and I actually kind of liked the one thing I liked about the performance is that there were so many rainbow pride flags out there that it was sort of a nice juxtaposition of what people perceive Russia to be versus what we saw on camera there. And I mean, I have to, you know, it's a different time in the United States now, but I'm trying to think of how to word this carefully without putting myself in a bad position. I think a lot of people look at the United States in a certain way, and I have to tell myself that doesn't represent us or me as someone from the United States. And I'm hoping that was the case with the broadcaster, that maybe there is this hidden imagery in Polina's performance saying not all of us are like that, and my camera just got moved.
Yeah, I saw that. I'll figure it out. Go ahead, keep talking.
Yep. No, that's all I was going to say. I want to keep us in time.
Yeah. So I do remember then with Sergei, it was more of a warm welcome there. Like, everyone loved Sergei. I'm sure it has something to do with that he is easy on the eyes, I guess. So it was a little less So do you think that if Russia all of a sudden leads in the jury vote, do you think we could expect a lot of more booing, or you think people are not going to worry about that? Or you think is that a concern of yours?
I'm along for the ride. You know, I think we're going to talk about Spain at one point, but there's a part of me that, what's that term, that German term, Matt, about seeing...
Schadenfreude?
That's a part of the thing I like about Eurovision. Because I think I said it on our chat amongst the editors that I'm hoping for one of the lights. Sorry, the lights went out of my office or on a timer. There we go. There's a part of me that hopes to see train wrecks happen. That just just to watch what happens, like almost like with Germany in 2015 when Home Dude was just like, yeah, this is great, but I don't want to do this. And I almost want to see someone who doesn't want to win the Eurovision Gala for OT win just to see what happens. I mean, I already gave my thoughts about Spain. I'm Team Miki all the way. I want Lavenda to win, but I would just, part of me would love to see an artist who does not want to go to Eurovision win just to see what happens.
I know.
That's the real, that's horrible of me to say, but maybe with Russia, I'm curious to see what's going to happen, and I don't know how I'm going to react till I'm there, because I remember in 2015, people weren't really pro-Sweden as much as they were as anti-Russia.
Yes,
and I think that you and I were a little upset about that. As hard as much as I don't agree with some of the politics out of Russia, personally, but that's another story. I just felt the way they were treating the delegation at that point was a little mean, and I don't know what I don't know.
I know, I felt the same way, and we don't have time to go through that, unfortunately, in detail. I would love to, maybe we can do it on the next stream, but yeah, I was pretty disheartened as well that year. Anyway, let's wait and see what's going to happen with Russia.